Welcome to another episode of Not For The Weak Minded. Now, I've been very quiet this last week or so, as unfortunately the plan was to get a part-time job, and hopefully that was enough money to keep the roof over my head and do as many videos and content as possible. Unfortunately, things have changed, and because I have had extra expenditure, I've had to go get a full-time job. So I'm unfortunately not got enough time on my hands to do the things I really want to do. So this video is about what I've been up to this last week to do with my technical drawings and the created earth. Now, this drawing has taken me roughly about 60 hours and it is not finished, but it is near enough. So I'm going to show you some things in a second to do with this drawing, but first we're going to back to the drawing board, the wall. So here we are. Let's get a closer look up of the pictures which you didn't see close up really last time, so it's too far away. So let's start with this one. Now, this one was the precursor to the one I've just showed you on the table, which basically shows that there is geocentric patterns, as in you can make straight lines out of circles. So we will skip to this one. Now, this one here was the precursor to the one on the table. The one on the table I've used maths, and this one here I didn't. I just randomly tried to draw from line to line to line to line, and as you can see, I made loads and loads of mistakes by crossing over lines which they shouldn't be on. And essentially, from those mistakes, I then drew this. And so this here, I'm going to show you, when you look at certain angles, shows you very, very clearly that the earth has levels. Now, I definitely would like to do this on a computer program, and albeit that this drawing isn't perfect, it's not exactly what it looks like, it does give you an example of the levels to creation. Now, it's interesting that I had to do this drawing in order to actually create the most accurate blueprint of this created earth. So we're going to go back to the wall again quickly, and this has to do with domes. Now, so the next drawing, I am going to incorporate the colors of the rainbow, because that is how you create light, and I'm going to make it different. So the next one is going to be 3 domes. Each one has its own light source, and it's going to be represented in a geocentric form. Next time. I'm very busy with these take a long time, and they have meaning which goes beyond most people's comprehension, because they have to look at information, as I was saying last time, to make you see that they've lied to you. And so, as I said before, without the blueprint, I couldn't have done this one here, the pyramid, and how that fits perfectly into these drawings. So if you look carefully, I have updated this one. Now, because when I did this, I realized I made a mistake, and that these ones here, the meridians, because this is 24 centimeters long, I just divided it by 1. So each one is a centimetre. That's wrong, unfortunately. And the next drawing is going to be the most accurate where all the land places are. I can show you quickly, but it's not very clear to see and it's nowhere near finished. So let's just go down to this one. Here we are. Oh, excuse my dressing gown. So they have used angles. Now this looks a mess, and all intents and purposes is the origins of the saying 1,000 points of light, because it has to do with creation and them using that knowledge to literally cull humanity. And so this ultimately, when you know signs and symbols, proves without a shadow of a doubt that every single one of you has a common enemy that is using knowledge against you. Continually. Every day. Relentlessly. It's called the television. So let's go back to this one. Inside this one, they're going to be 3 domes and the colours of the rainbow in each one, separating each dome from the other, showing that there is multiple levels to this reality. Now the Book of Enoch talks about a physical prison for the beings in heaven, in space. Space is not what you've been told, because everything of this reality relates to frequencies. We are in the time of ascension, and it is up to the individual to seek their own salvation in truth, which is Christ. So, let's go back to the wall again. Here we go. So the 4 corners of the earth, that is mentioned in the Book of Enoch. The Bible mentions Enoch but took the works out. The Lion King, let's say the great circle of life, the circle of life, the great cycle, 3,600 years. Now if you've looked at Zecharia Sitchin's work, an archaeologist, and studied the Sumerian culture, you would understand where I've got this information from. However, their interpretation of everything is still based on a lie, and so, this is why many of you that probably have heard of Sitchin and the Sumerian king list would not associate that artifact with this drawing. But I'm telling you, it is connected to the Book of Enoch and to ancient literature. And the astronomy of time, as it says in the Bible. Now you must bear in mind, I don't go to any church. I am not religious. I have found truth through understanding the ancient literature, archaeological discoveries, and my own personal experiences, and much more. You know, whatever we have discovered, you've probably not looked at. So the moon and sun in the Book of Enoch says that we've got 18 hours in a day, and I aim to prove that with my drawing. Not this one, but this one, because it has to do with arc. 60 minutes is an arc, and there is 18 arcs. So, not 24, which means time is a lie. They've lied to you about time, these time lords, the Templars, the pillars of time, the time pillars, right? Which is why you see the 2 pillars, or the Twin Tower reference, which is a Templar of origin for in castles, still around us today, because it relates to the Catholic Church and history which has been erased. And so let's get into this drawing. Frequencies, sound can create, and pitch can create colour. This relates to the stars, but it also, I believe, can relate to the events of creation. So not only does the colors go in a spectrum, let's say, of frequency from low to high, it also goes round in a circle from pitch, and I do believe that has to do with the events of creation. I need to prove it, I can't prove it yet, and that's my line of thought. Everything relates to technologies. This drawing, just a random drawing of the levels. So you see space, it's this bit, the earth, we are here around that bit, and then the center bit. Interesting enough, when you relate this, the number 12 and the Bible to the 12 tribes of Israel, what this drawing does show you, interesting enough, is that at the core there is one individual who is leading that sector. So you must have to try and divide this earth up by 12, and then it gets even more complicated when you realize that, let's say the gods are going to return, but we are the gods, because those people that are literally learning the things right now will be took by the gods, and they will be back, and they will usher in a one world culture based on all the knowledge which they have accumulated in this time, and know exactly what went wrong, why it went wrong, how it went wrong, and to never repeat it again. Well, let's say for another 1,000 years, 2,000, 3,000, you know, the Great Cycle, let's go back to that, 3,600 years. So the last 300 is the time we're in, and the first 300 is when creation starts. So there is 2 creation civilizations on this earth, and it seems as though that relates to this one, because it's both upper world and lower world. So both the gods and these demonic, let's say reptilian beings, are out of the physical prison, which is probably in the middle, because that relates to this one as frequencies is color, right? So the red bandwidth, let's say that's the lowest, means that they can't access the higher levels of reality. But because we're in the green zone, we can go down and we can go up spiritually or physically with your soul intact in your body. So time, it's about time you see what time you actually live in, because Revelation's coming true, and the only reason why that is because at the start of time itself, which should be Pisces, not Aries, if you go into this drawing, is, what was I going to say, is when basically civilization starts again. Enki, for example, the creator god, is represented as half man, half fish. So during this period, it's funny how the water bearer as well is a time where great flooding because of global warming, of course. Now I was going to say something about this, about time. I forgot what it was. Doesn't matter, I'll come back to it. But essentially, they've lied to you about everything. They've covered up history, ancient history, censored the academic records, censored all records, lied to you about how you even exist. So it's time, really, you see that why, that's what it was, why Revelation's coming true. Now imagine if Pisces was in January. That's because they've got their halos and they can see the future and the past, and that has to do with ascension in the time of Aquarius as well, right now, and how and the 144,000, let's call them, chosen ones, which are going to come back. So why is Revelation coming true? Because we saw it. We read it down. Those that survived the last great game read it down when they had their halos. And so the other night, through my meditative practices, I saw my halo for the first time, and straight after it I saw as clear as day. I could draw it, no problem. It's ingrained into my mind, the picture, the devil, straight after. I told it to go away, and then after I saw some amazing color changes around me. It's an experience, and I've had a lot of strange experiences. What a lot of people would call, not normal. But intents and purposes, a lot of people don't understand the normal, do they? I accept the normal because I've studied the normal. I've studied everything. In terms of their core principles, in terms of, what is reality, because I was forced to look, not only for my own curiosity, but because close friends wanted answers, who now, still today, don't even want to believe that, the last 10-15% of the things I'm saying, and that's space, people. Space is holding your mind back. Even though it's real, it's water, and you can go out there. It's a physical place. It's just not what you think it to be. And so the toroidal field is key to understanding a great deal of this reality. Time itself, how they've lied to you about everything, and your soul, essentially. So here we go. This one here, and then it started from that one, but I realized because it was too small, it was quashed because that was only 18, and that's 24. And so I learned from my errors, and I have made countless mistakes in terms of thought and processes and the way and paths taken. I can tell you now, I'm no longer needing to do that anymore, because I know the truth. It's just now it's very easy to discern lies on the television, for example, because I can see their signs and symbols, their body language, their intentions. It's all there for you to see. You think that looks like an iris? An eye at the center of the universe, which is created. Not just the earth is created, the bloody whole universe is created. There's two possibilities. One, well, it was a physical reality built, and there's an outside to this dome, as in there's out here somewhere, and that is unknown. Or we're in type of simulation, and it's all computerized. Up to you, I don't know. It could be both. Nothing is simple in this reality. There is no simple answer. It is multiple answers, which is why Occam's razor can go do one. So, last bit, show you the last ones. Flash through. As above, so below. Light, sound can produce heat. Sound can produce light. Sound can levitate objects. Sound can cure all diseases. Sound technologies is the fundamental importance to our existence. Frequencies. We need to know this information like 2 decades ago. Centuries ago, in fact. Right. I will be finishing this one. and I will do a video about it, of course, in due time. Let's just go back to this one, this beautiful drawing. Last look. Do you see how his levels? Do you see the... Although the paper is crumpled, when it's flattened, you can see that it looks like it has levels. And so space is raised, and it goes down into the green, and then it goes up again into the red and orange. And this does, in fact, relate to the physical reality, to do with the 4 major rivers. Well, say, not just rivers. Let's go back to this one a minute. Last drawing. 4 major rivers that are at, well, water sources, let's call it. They're not rivers, they're literally 4 places where water comes pouring out, and those places, those water sources, create all major rivers, which then flow to the sea. So there is no oceans, none at all. So if you look at this one, it flows from the middle all the way down to the sea, and then it cycles around to the Great Deep, which is the Mariana Trench. And would you believe it, right? Which is incredible, what you should be amazed at, because it is unbelievable. When it goes down, it cycles back, it gets cleaned, the water gets cleaned, and comes back out the center again. It is a cycle of water. There is a cycle of air that is created using frequencies. This place was created using technologies, very advanced technologies, in fact, that we have similar to today. So, thank you very much for watching. Please share, like, subscribe. I will be back with more very, very soon.